y la palabra, canto para la lucha, con mi guitarra y la palabra, canto para la lucha, con mi guitarra. Con mi guitarra, canto para la lucha. So, thank you. So welcome to the workshop. I wanted to just start today's session. Today's beautiful day. What a beautiful day. It's so great to be here. And I want everybody to just take a moment and just close your eyes after you sit down. So close your eyes and just, breathe deeply. And let's just, start there in silence. And just be grateful. Just this moment of like, wow, we're here, we're in this space together at this incredible Curelet festival in beautiful Victoria Park here in Ontario, Canada. And why are we here? Social transformation begins with each person. Every person here can go through a voyage of social transformation. I'm convinced that everybody's got the power and the capacity to do something meaningful. You probably all have already and maybe didn't realize it. So you want to just be grateful for a minute for that. And when it comes to wanting to empower yourself, I always think of education. You want to educate yourself. Educate comes from the Latin word. It means to lead forth. That's what educate the word means. So I think if we can all just like unlock the potential of our own minds and let ourselves soar, find a way to express yourself, find your voice and nurture it. So what we're starting today right now is just being present. Be present and let your mind kind of, feel empowered and strong. And remember education. Education is powerful. Educate yourself, educate your neighbor, educate your community, because I think that opens doors and blurs lines between cultures. And remember, like, everybody, how we all talk about like the future, tomorrow. But now, you're not the future, you're the present. You are the now. Right now is what we need to do. We need to be present and be grateful that we're here. It's a great place and it's safe. So every little action that you can do after feeling empowered could be a small spark for a giant fire. And when I mean fire, I mean that in a positive way, So that the whole thing is that, a little idea can spawn an entire movement. You forget, like, you think, well, does my thought matter? Does it really mean anything? But yeah, it does. The ideas come from fellow humans, and that's how we get to change and to empowerment. From these little ideas, but letting them breathe, letting them be present, and being in the now. Don't like shortchange any of your thoughts. You know what I mean? Like that's. And in order to let that happen, I think it's important to be in a safe place. So right now we're in a safe place. We're completely supported. Thank you very much. I feel that. I feel, and look around you. Look at how wonderful everybody is. It's incredible. It's a safe place. And when you want to be present and find this empowerment, you can do it anywhere. So right now we're doing it here, but you can create a safe place to exchange ideas freely anywhere. Like your next meeting could be at your kitchen table. It could be a community center. It could be you and your son. It could be a school desk. Your idea comes in. So the thing is to spawn these ideas, let them breathe and live, and then to act, because that's what comes next. So I have a question for everybody to ponder, and if anybody has an answer, please speak up on it. What motivated you to come to this festival here today?
For the fun.
Say that again?
For the fun.
For the fun. That's awesome.
For my heart. I live over there, and this is the third one, and I noticed that this festival has the most heart in it every summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I purposely came here for that.
For the heart.
Yeah,
That's
for your heart and for my
very
heart.
present.
Yes.
That's very present.
Yeah.
Somebody did you ever have? No. I love that. And so is that part of why you're at the workshop too?
Yeah,
I
I felt attracted to it for some
That's
reason.
fantastic. That's great. Why? Uh-huh. He sure is present, isn't he? Yeah, he's a fine example. So now I want to talk, now that you're present and you feel safe and you're letting your ideas flow, I want to talk a little bit about how do you find your voice? Like, I find that, we shy away from things that are different and we're afraid of things, so we don't approach things. I think you want to be curious. You want to approach what's foreign. You want to be curious and interested in things that you don't already know. Like, this is my first time at Kitchener, and this experience right here, right now, I'm soaking it in, and I have to tell you guys are awesome. It feels amazing. So that newness, that curiosity, you want to be comfortable with that, and that's important to also to empower yourself. And remember, you're not alone. We're all on this planet together. You're not alone. And empower yourself, but remember, there's only one you. So I'm looking at all of your eyes, and I see uniqueness. Every single one of you is unique. So you have your own spirit, your own energy. And you look around, you're like, wow, everybody looks like very different, but still, you're the only you. So that's something that you want to remember too. I was a smart, curious kid, and I grew up with a family of Latinos. I was born in Ecuador, South America. My mother's Lebanese. My father's from. Yeah.
I wasn't born in Ecuador.
Where were you born?
I was born here, but I moved to Ecuador.
Yeah.
There's
Are you
your
a
connection.
I love this kid. What's your name? Nice to meet you. So he's like a curious kid. He's curious. My family moved to New York when I was a little girl. So I grew up as an immigrant in New York City, much like Alexandra, who was born in Cali, Colombia. Alex, when did you go to New York as a child?
I was 4 years old when I went to
He was 4 years old. A lot. And so you grew up in a home. What was the home like that you grew up in? Like,
well, inside the house, my dad said it's Colombia because he wanted us to retain our culture. So he said, when you go outside, it's the U.S., but inside the house, it's Colombia, and you can only speak Spanish. And then because he did that, I developed all my Spanish traits as well as the American traits.
yes. And where were you all born and raised? Any volunteers? You have that? See. And what's your name?
My name's Wendy. I was born in Canada, and
What part of Canada?
Durham, Ontario. So a little bit up there. And then at 21, I started exploring Europe. And honestly, it's been a back and forth, but I did spend 28 years in Denmark, in Scandinavia. And then the last 5 years I came. But I also did the same when I was there, when I had children. I was immersed in the culture, but I kept it. I spoke English to boys. And so they were Danish, and now I'm back here.
So all those experiences formulate the unique you.
Yeah.
And do you feel like I felt like my rich culture at home, the Latino culture that I learned about, the Lebanese side, my Spanish side, coupled with growing up in New York City and listening to rock and roll, is what formulates me. Like this blend of energies and this bridge that formulates me. And I knew music was going to be the way I could be understood. So what I'd like to encourage is how can everybody make a link to what's your found voice. You've already most of you probably have found your voice already, but the whole desire is how to find your voice. Remember, we started being safe and being present, and now we're trying to find our voice. So once you find your voice, then you can express, and I don't mean vocally like me. My voice is my guitar, my songs, my singing voice. But each one of you in your uniqueness have a voice you can find too in yourself, and I've already found it in many cases. And when I look to our songwriters and others that influenced me, like Bob Marley, Neil Young, who's Canadian, and I love his songs. People like that have influenced me. I mean, Dolores Huertas, she influenced me. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I mean, who are some people? So the question is, who are some? For me, it was a lot of songwriters and writers that influenced me. What are some artists, leaders, painters, architects, dancers that have influenced you or that you look up to? Any Picasso. Neil Diamond influenced you to help you find your, like, you think he triggered something to help you find your own voice? Yeah, who else? Eric Clapton. Are you a guitarist? No. So listening to Eric Clapton made you feel like you could find yourself, which is part of you. Yeah, part of you. Yeah. So it's important to look at who influences you, because it's not just about teaching. It's also good to learn. So you learn from the people like that, that have influenced you, and then you realize why did that person influence me? Why? What is it about Eric Clapton that connects with you? And from there, you find your voice, but then now you have to use your voice. Okay, so what do you do to use your voice? Oh, sorry. What do you do to use your voice? So the question is, for everybody to ponder, if you could be part of a real movement or cause for something, or have been part of a real movement or cause, what was it, or what would you choose? Oh, yes? You'd be part of a band, and what would the songs be about? Stuff. That's good. But you feel like that would help you use your voice. Anybody else? Anybody else? Oh, yes. And if somebody could speak out for her, if I can't hear. Yes. Classical music. So you found your voice and became a volunteer, is that what you said? Yes. And that's exactly what we're talking about connecting your, empowerment to your own voice and then acting on it. So, yes.
So when I was in Denmark, I went to creativity and theater school, and it started with just what you said, a trust and a safe spot. And I went deep for years. And did so much healing work with voice and body and massage and art and music.
Is your voice.
Yes, in all different ways, right? In an artistic way. And then I've been back here for 5 years, kind of trying to figure it out. I figured it out. I want to do all that here, and I started, and I just put myself on an artistic committee for a festival September 16th here, and I'm going to direct that and do voice and painting and body work and coordinate.
And who are some of your influences?
It was the teacher that created the safe spot to go deep, and honestly, she's one of the very few people that I trust so fully.
And you let yourself go there.
Yes.
So
and I learned so much.
Is about letting your mind kind of go free yourself from the routine and let yourself go into exploring.
Yes.
and letting it happen.
Yeah. And now I'm going to give that to here, to where I'm here.
That's fantastic. So healing. So that's like some things to think about. Like what's important to you. What would you choose? Would you choose your family, the environment, freedom of speech, women's rights? These are just examples. I'm a woman. Education, gun safety, equality, immigrants' rights, workers' rights, animal rights. I mean, these are just ideas of like things that can like motivate you towards empowering yourself to find your voice for something towards social change, awareness. That's how maybe it triggered you to find your voice. That's kind of like the idea. So now that you found your voice, let's say you did, and you're listening to Eric Clapton and you're like, damn, and an idea spawns in your head and you're in a safe place. Now, how do we use our voice towards social change? That's the next step. So it's back to, okay, the things you talk about at the family dinner table or the things you're Snapchatting about if you're him are sometimes issues that become the most worthwhile. They sound trivial and then they spawn and become like, wow, that's something I really want to fight for, or I really care about, or I really don't think is okay. And, tolerance is interesting. It's an interesting word. You want to tolerate people, but you don't want to allow negativity to be tolerated. If that makes any sense. I mean, everybody can. I'm just a musician. I'm not a preacher or anything. I'm just saying that the word tolerance is it's a very powerful word. So I also believe that if you see something that you don't think is okay, you should say something. So being a witness is another way to use your voice and act towards change. Because we are around fellow human beings every day that we see sometimes they're in trouble and we just look at our cell phones or whatever, and I'm not saying we can all help everybody every day, but this is just an awareness thing, that's all. And be gentle and kind to your neighbor, really is that. One of the things that I think people can use their voice towards social change. Just that, just the kindness, So I have, my first record is called En Paz, my first solo record. Alex knows it, record, both Alexes. En Paz is the name of my first record, which means in peace. And it was inspired by 9/11, what happened there. And it was inspired by the Arab Spring, things like that were going on. So I was like, I wrote a whole record around how can we live in peace. Peligrosa is one of the songs that's on that record that where I talk about the world being a dangerous place. Tierras is also a song on that record that I'm hoping that we can blur the lines between countries and be kind to our fellow neighbors. That's the concept behind Tierras, the song, that the world will get better if we reach out to our neighbor. My second album, Derecho, is a song from my second album, Fuerte. Derecho is like a punk anthem that is where I sing about how derecho, the word derecho means right. And that means fight for your rights, get representation. And the song is really saying, you can't squash my thought of liberty. So even if you feel like society or communities or whatever are limiting your range of thinking, they can't, because you own your mind. So it's all about empowering yourself again. I have a song called Un Fósforo on that record too. Un Fósforo is the concept that if we were in a dark room right now, sitting, all of us are in a dark room, and each one of us had a match, which is Un Fósforo, and we lit the match at the same time, we would light up the room. And that is working together, the little part we could do, and we could light up the room and expose the truth or whatever else your vision is to get to. So False Note is a song about that, you know. I don't know how much time I have. I could accelerate a little. my new album, La Lucha, is, I just sang the song La Lucha. There's a song on that called Bang Bang, which is a bilingual song in English and Spanish, which is about gun violence. And it's about how, when you see gun violence, that in and of itself is bad news. But in the song, I am observing it and I'm speaking out and saying, I'm calling the person out on that gun violence from the distance. So it's being a witness again. Like, we can only just do our part, but if we all do our part together, just a little bit, then it'll be a better world for him. For sure, a better world for us and for him. And look how happy that makes him. So the question now is, how can you use your voice towards social change? Within your family, school, community, at work, volunteer organization, daily actions as examples for others. So any volunteers on what comes to mind on how you can use your voice towards social change? Yay.
Speak when you can.
Say that really loudly.
Speak when you can and rest when you need to.
That's awesome. That's a really good answer. Yes, sir. Community gardening. That's fantastic. You have to eat and you're sharing and you're nurturing something together and everybody's doing their part. It's fantastic. How do you not watching TV? Any other ideas? Oh, yeah.
Festival that this man around this area wanted to do in a specific area just over there. And he got a lot of money from grants. And now then he's been sitting on, how am I going to do it? So just Monday, gathering in artists and musicians. And he realizes it's going to take all of us to create this festival.
This festival is a shining example
Exactly.
of acting towards everybody doing their part towards
Like,
contributing to social change. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
cultural change.
And cultural aware exchange. Yes, yes, because I was born being a bridge of many cultures. I can't help it. You know, my parents are each immigrants. My father's from Spain, my mother from Lebanon. I was born in Ecuador. I came to New York, so I'm used to the bridge that Alexander was talking about, being a bridge as well from Colombia to New York. And here, if we look around at how incredibly diverse the performers are, everybody in this lovely tent, it's a shining example of the way the world could be, and everybody's smiling. It's like we're all better for it, you know. Community garden, I love that too. I love. So then the next thing that now you found your voice, you're using your voice and activating change. Now, how do you organize and be a leader? You know, okay.
Number one, just what you said, make it a safe spot.
Right.
Grow.
And a big step, I think, of that overwhelming concept of like, okay, how am I going to be a leader, or how am I going to support a leader for somebody who I believe in the cause? It could be the person who's behind it. Are you the leader of the community garden? Yeah. Wild guess. Yes. So, how did you get there? I think that the easiest way is to just break it down. You break it down and start with one thing at a time and then build it. Is that fair? And you started small and you had
Well, I think you start being leader by being a follower.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because then, like, you learn to actually be enough to understand how to inspire, or to inspire you to be inspired. So first be a follower.
That's exactly right.
And then grow yourself.
That's exactly. And listen, be a follower first, and then break it down to what it is that you want to make the change to happen. I've been thinking about all this activism, but I also do it I've started part of this organization called Water Ecuador, which was we've had fundraisers for, and basically they build water centers in Ecuador in impoverished communities, and we also not just build a center, but we also teach people how about hygiene, about clean water. It's something that we take for granted. You know, we leave the water running and whatever, and in some communities they suffer greatly. So that inspired me. That's one of my visions. I'm also part of an organization called Voto Latino in the U.S. Voto Latino is trying to get the Latino community to vote in the elections, because voting is a right, and that is how you get representation. So don't pass up that chance. I mean, how do you all feel about voting? The importance of voting. Say that again? Not enough of it. Not enough people voting.
The complication is that our politics is also complicated.
Fair enough.
Our cities are complicated.
Yeah. But it's, again, break it down and get the you know, get your friend, your three neighbors who are like, I don't need to vote. Talk about it, and if that motivates you. Obviously, I'm not asking you to do something that doesn't motivate you.
But to become a leader in your community, or as on the school board, or in like in a small space, you don't have to talk about national election or whatever.
Right.
Vote for your community board or whatever, your neighborhood watch.
Yes.
Neighborhood associations.
Exactly. Neighborhood associations.
One of those is about 31 neighborhood associations.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
But there needs to be more of them, and they need to be more active.
More participants too, right? Right. And you have your hand up too.
So I think, well, voting is very complicated thing, so maybe it's not in any content. Because, you know, for like I'm part of the business, so for many members of my community, voting encourages a system that they don't actually appreciate exists. So it's really complicated to get people out to vote, but I think the premise behind voting is the concept of you have a voice and you use it, it doesn't get heard. So like wherever you choose to vote, like it's using your voice to act.
Right.
For me, voting is an act of using voice, and where I vote.
That's right.
Like,
For your representation. Right.
Exactly. So like voting in federal elections is really complicated. It's like by one hand, voting in that election is agreeing that this government should be in existence, which I don't necessarily. But on the other hand, if I don't use that vote, then this government still exists. Only this state is
Without your involvement.
right. And so like getting that constant process in communities that I'm involved in, right?
And you guys are voting at different levels. You have at province level, at the councilman level. I mean, I don't know your politics well enough, but and voting means just participate, you know, and getting your voice heard and being heard. I was also, another thing that I was a big part of was the Women's March. I don't know if you guys heard about the Women's March in the U.S. I'm not being facetious at all, because the U.S. everybody thinks the world revolves around us, but they don't. It doesn't. In fact, all my friends want me to find houses here so we can come over here to Canada. It's so lovely. But the Women's March was a big initiative the day after the election, the day after the new president and the new government was taking office. On January 2020, I think they were inaugurated. January 21st, we had the march. And the march was simultaneously happening in many, many communities, many cities. Same day. We had people it's Guelph, right? Guelph in London and Toronto and Ottawa participated. And in the U.S., it was really, you guys were supporting us in our effort for this Women's March. And the Women's March in New York there were like 20 of us who volunteered. It started this big, and it grew to be almost 1 million marchers. There were about 800,000 is what the city counted, but we have the list, so we know it was like more like 1 million. And that was just New York. And the message, so we achieved that gathering of the minds in a unified, peaceful way to motivate social change. And we marched for equality to remind our representatives that they represent us, We marched against intolerance, for civil liberties, to be prepared to defend our rights. We fight against intolerance, discrimination, sexual harassment, civil injustice. So we really did, and it was a women's march led by women, but the march was men, women, boys, girls, you know, LGBTQ, XYZ community, you know, like everybody was part of this march. It was by no means just a women's march. But that would just gave us, we pulled our matches together, lit our matches together, and we made a mark and set an example of how you can rally to be heard. And it was all over the press. And you know, don't kid yourself, the government knew that we were talking to them, and they can't hide, you know, from it. So finally, what do you do to ensure your success? No, let me ask the question. Okay, ask yourself, why would you maybe march? Like, what cause would motivate you to march? Just that's something to think about, and that's another place to get motivation from, to empower yourself. And to close out, it's about how do we ensure our success? That's our final thing. And ensuring success, again, with the different efforts that you've given me as examples, you ensure your success by having a mission statement, by having goals, attainable goals, concrete goals, because obviously your example is like, what's the goal? To have a healthy, beautiful garden?
Also just the communication, the lifestyle. And
that's fantastic. That's the mission.
Nature in general.
Engage with nature and unify people. So you have a very concrete mission and goal, and I think that's really important. Which is what we had with the Women's March. When you don't have a concrete goal or goals or mission, then sometimes you flounder. That's what ends up happening. Is what I found in all my failures. Yes.
So how do you link music, like your workshop with music?
Well, that's my voice.
Yeah. So how?
My voice is my songs. My songs are about fighting for your rights, derecho. About Bang Bang, which is an anti-gun violence song. La Lucha is a song about using your voice towards change. Un Fósforo is if I told you guys about lighting a match. I have En Paz. I have a lot of songs on my records but thematically my records are about social change and social justice. I have a song called Jaula, which means cage, which society sometimes makes you feel like you live in a cage, and I hope to inspire people with my songs. So that's the goal for me, and frankly, a lot of what I sing about are really a reflection of what I've heard from people like you. As I tour and I get inspired to write more songs, it's the people I'm around on tour, which is these two, and all the wonderful people I meet. And a lot of the songs come from, it's a big reflection, that's all it is. I'm singing back what I've heard from you. And so if that can help us feel stronger together, then that's really what it's about. So that's my connection of both what I call artivism, activismo, and we have a lot of different things, to talk about with immigrants' rights in our songs. We have songs about a refugee not being able to go back to their country, so be good to your neighbor if you don't know why they can't go back to their country. People have to open their arms. Songs about PTSD. I have a song called Yazora about PTSD and a music video around that. So that's what I do. Yes. So, okay, one more. So, closing question is, what small actions could you take to become a leader or support a leader to achieve the goals of the cause? Just what small action? That's kind of an example of how you ensure success, because you're coming up with concrete goals. Yes, sir. Helping someone out. What was the second thing you said? Helping Helping someone out by helping them. Yes, that's the right attitude. Anybody else have any, like, just a small thing, just like that?
Weed your garden.
Yes.
Pull the weed.
Weed your garden. Yes. I love the garden.
Water somebody else's plants from time to time.
Yes, yes. Yes.
When I arrived in one of the, there was somebody who wanted to burn
Yes, those are concrete goals. Right. Wow. Yes, offering lessons for free in the schools. I don't know if everybody hears you. That's fantastic. Louder. Can you come up here and say what you said?
One of the reasons I moved here was because I like the music department. And there was somebody named Carrie Coco. She wanted to start a music school for giving private music lessons to children who could not afford it. And so we got together. We were a group of maybe 10 people. And musicians donated their time so we could raise funds through concerts and get the music started. Students from Wilfrid Laurier accepted to teach for free. And so we really got a good effort, everybody together.
What motivated you?
Because I believe that music should be accessible to everyone.
Bravo.
Yes. And so that's what motivated me. And the school now is 5 years old. So
So I want to applaud her statement that music should be accessible to all, and that's what Isabel is doing here with this festival. They do the arts, so I want to give them a round of applause. They're blending cultures and bringing music accessible to all from all parts of the world internationally. And I want to thank you all for coming to this workshop, and I hope it gave you food for thought. Speaking of food, are you guys having some nice meals too? Do you think I can with them?
Well, that's no problem.
We wrote this song, my late father.
La noche viene como un coche. La noche viene como un coche. Quiero dormir con mis ojos cerrados. Quiero dormir en paz. Libertad, no te escondes más. Libertad para el pueblo. Quiero dormir con mis ojos cerrados. Quiero despiértense, levántense, despiértense, despiértense al nuevo día. Quiero dormir you all. Really. Peace. Paz y fuerza.
Muchísimas gracias.
Con gusto.